gosh.
Welcome back, everyone.
Yep.
We're here to do Halloween type stuff in Halloween Town. Now, we are doing something called a post-commentary.
Oh, look at that video.
What video?
Yeah, it was jittery. That's weird. Okay, yeah, we're doing a post-commentary because something happened and we just lost all that. Look at that. What's going on?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. We lost the audio portion of the commentary
Of this video.
Maybe it's because the video's going haywire. So we're just gonna do post-commentary. The first one we've ever done. So
yeah. Anyway.
Bear with us.
Yes.
So let's talk about some RPG stuff.
Yes.
Right? So you mainly like Japanese RPGs. We kind of touched on that in the last
Briefly.
episode.
Yeah.
You glitched out on Dragon Age.
Glitched out on Dragon Age.
You
yeah.
didn't like the style of or the progression of items in Skyrim and Fallout because of the morality issues, right?
Yeah, the morality issues there kind of because the thing about me is like I don't understand why make a system where you can choose any path you want, you can be good or evil, but keep all of the good, not so much good, but unique items behind the be bad wall, you know?
Yeah.
To me, it makes a lot more sense to balance the game and be like, hey, you can be good or evil, and you can get the gear, like this unique gear, both ways.
You know what game did a good job of that? I'm not sure if you ever played Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah?
Did you ever play
I haven't, no.
It's the equipment is balanced really well where the more evil you are, you make money faster, therefore you can buy things more. But when you're good, people reward you with items rather than having to buy them. So you get less choice as doing these guys. Like if you really care about cosmetic things, like I do. Like I won't use a gun if I think it looks stupid.
Really?
But yeah, or if I don't like the reload animation, I'm like, I'll use something else.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just really that picky.
Interesting.
But you'll be able to just buy the equipment. I think it's because we're doing Podia.
Yeah,
I told you that. Well, you're just looking at it. Anyway, what are we doing at this point in the game?
At this point, we were climbing up there to go to see
Oogie Boogie.
Oogie Boogie.
Right?
Yeah, Oogie Boogie, and
But yeah, I fell at this point. I thought I broke the game because Jack was attacking.
yeah, and that's when I grabbed the controller out of your hand and I was like,
maybe because that's where one of the weak points is.
oh, could be.
And because you're not, I don't think. Are you actually supposed to be at this area right now?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know then.
Anyway.
So what about Japanese RPGs really calls out to you as being the superior?
Again, it's personal taste, but to me, I find that most JRPGs have a certain artistic appeal, but I appreciate more than Western RPGs. Try to explain. It's like Western RPGs are a little more gritty, but what I kind of like is how kind of artistic. No, artistic is the wrong word. It's like sort of picturesque. Many JRPGs are.
JRPGs seem to be a lot more bright.
Yeah, they're more vibrant.
Yeah, like it's kind of like if you look at. I'm not sure if you ever played Prince of Persia or if you ever saw it.
I've seen footage.
But it's lots of grays, lots of reds, lots of browns, lots of blacks.
Right, exactly.
But then like you look at something like Prince of Persia, the one that came out like in 2008, where it looked like a watercolor painting.
Yes.
Like I think that's kind of like a good analogy for Western versus Japanese.
Yeah.
Like Japanese is very vibrant, it's very colorful, it's very in your face.
Yeah.
And then the other stuff, like the Western stuff, seems to be a lot more quote unquote realistic.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean.
Realistic as according to our world, not according to the fantasy world that they've created.
Exactly, and to me, it's a personal taste. You know, I'm a huge fan of cartoons. I love the vibrant colors and the creativity that goes into JRPGs because I do find that a lot of very picturesque locations. Like if you guys ever played Xenoblade, you guys know what I mean when I say the picturesque locales and sprawling, landscapes, and there's a real beauty to JRPGs in terms of visuals, not just graphics but visuals. And there's a difference between graphics and artistic style.
Yeah. Well, graphics and artistic style are kind of like when you look at the Telltale games.
Yes.
A lot of people they're not graphically impressive, but a lot of people really enjoy the way they look.
Right.
Because it's very much like a comic book, or Or even like Borderlands. Like Borderlands isn't graphically good, but it's very nice to look at most of the time.
It depends on the style. I like sort of that style in Borderlands, not my preferred style.
Yeah,
but
maybe more like a Bioshock versus Bioshock Infinite, where Bioshock 1 is very dark. It's very it's
a closer analogy.
Good graphics for the time. It's still pretty decent graphics, but it's not the things in it aren't necessarily nice to look at, like the splicers and whatnot. As opposed to Infinite, where like you can, like sometimes there'll be something to spin, but then you can look at the sprawling landscape and the clouds and everything, and it's very nice to look at, even though the graphics are more of a different style than Bioshock. At least that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah. So I mean, that's part of the thing is everyone's always talking about graphics and horsepower of consoles or whatever. But what really matters to me is the style that you choose to make the game. So yeah, that's one thing about JRPGs that I appreciate. This doesn't happen at all in Western RPGs. It happens to a lesser degree to my style. Another thing is I find that just I prefer my RPGs to be menu based.
So like turn based, more so.
Kind of, yeah. But I prefer like live action like this or like some other games, right? But when it comes to RPGs, I do like the sort of tactical nature of tactical strategic nature of menu-based selection and choosing options.
Kind of like you said, you never played Knights of the Republics, right? So, I'm just gonna call it KOTOR from now on, because that's what
everyone calls it. Yeah.
But in KOTOR, you have it's real-time combat, but it's real-time menu. So it's like you have. Like, say you have a lightsaber, say you have a blaster, say you have a thermal detonator.
Right.
It's like you choose, like you're fighting, like maybe you're shooting with a blaster and you see the guy coming, you have to go into the menu, switch to lightsaber, and switch to the type of attack for the lightsaber, and then say, like, you can tell your guy to move, like, to run, but you don't tell him to attack by yourself. And then maybe you run away and pull out a thermal detonator, and that and pull the lightsaber again.
Right.
Is that kind of what you...
Yeah, well, yeah, it's kind of like, if you ever play like a tactics game, like where you're, you ever played Fire Emblem or like it?
Yep.
So
then, yeah, turn-based.
No, it's not turn-based, but it's different than standard turn-based where it's you back and forth. It's like, yeah, having the ability to have a drop-down menu and have options in the menus, I like that. It doesn't happen at all in Western RPGs. Instead, what you have is like the hotbar, and you have like the individual things, and that works. And I mean, there is a reason why it's so popular because it works, and I accept that. But I still think, in my heart, I prefer sort of the tactical nature of choosing that. Like Pokemon, awesome for that. Because then you got.
Well, that is 100%
turn-based, and you're like, and to me, I find that great. It's like,
I really want you to play or at least try or even watch me play XCOM. I want to see if you would enjoy it because it's a Western like strategy game, but it's done in such a way where it doesn't really feel like it's a Western strategy game. It just feels like a strategy.
Yeah, right.
Which is rare these days.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not meaning to say that I don't like genres like this. I love this like games like this, right? But RPGs, as far as RPGs goes, I'm partial to turn-based type stuff. But, you know, it doesn't mean that these aren't good experiences for me. It just means that okay. Organs.
It's so disgusting. Bugs. That's so gross.
Well, I mean, like, you know, obviously, if you're gonna, what scary way is there to be filled with bugs?
Filled with the thoughts of failure and crushed dreams.
That is a very. Sometimes your style is. For some reason, he gave us. We should probably look into the Instant Reports eventually.
Yeah.
Those are like good story stuff.
We should probably go back and give Winnie the Pooh one of his friends back at some point too.
It's fine. He'll be okay.
It's so sad. It's really sad.
But yeah, strategy is as far as strategy goes. That's another issue with me is I really like how most JRPGs have lots of stuff. Like, when I play a game, I really want, like, I would love if a game had like pages and pages and pages of spells and armor and weapons, and I love that because having that breadth of selection lets me customize and do exactly what I want, how I want to make my characters, and play exactly how I want to play. That's my issue with 13, 13.2, and games.
Talking about Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy 13 and 13.2 is it just like there wasn't enough choice, you know, like. Games like this, there's not much customization choice either, but it's acceptable because it's a different genre.
Yeah, well, this is more of like a hack and
slasher, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like okay.
A
fine.
very primitive hack and slash if they're going for hack and slash. But
it is.
For the time it came out, it probably wasn't primitive.
It probably wasn't.
Like because now I'm used to like Ninja Gaiden
and
Rising, which is insane.
Right.
And amazing.
This is like 2002 or something. So
really, it plays better than I thought it was. I thought it was more like a 2005.
I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it's this is back when Square Enix was like trying first time to do something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I get what they were trying to do with the magic bar, right? They were trying to do this thing where it's like, oh, hey, magic is effective and it heals you and stuff, but you can't just use magic all the time because then you run out of MP.
Yeah.
And then you have to hit things to get your MP back, so it's a kind of a mixing of physical and magic. But it didn't work out because the magic is effective.
Yeah.
Because you want to save all your magic for cures.
Yeah.
That's what ends up happening. You want to save it all.
And back on strategy, where you were saying like it seems like JRPGs have more strategy than Western RPGs.
Yeah, because
of the menus
because of the amount of customization options you're allowed to have.
Yeah. And that's totally fair, but I would argue it's a different type of strategy. And there is, of course, we've talked about strategy a whole bunch, but we've talked about dominant strategy being something like this kill strategy in games, like different styles of gameplay. Like, why would you ever do that when like you get the best item in like 5 minutes in the game?
Right.
What's the point? I should just, like slash with my sword.
Right.
And just keep drinking potions. In the case of Skyrim, that's what you can do. Two-handed weapons, heavy armor, and beat the crap out of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why a lot of times melee versus magic is not balanced properly in most RPGs because there's too many penalties when you melee. Being melee, there's no cost to swinging your sword, swinging your weapon, right? You just keep on going. The magic, it's like you gotta consider, casting time, cast timers, your MP usage, right? And it's like, and you're also really vulnerable to attacks.
Yeah, and that's totally true in the case of Skyrim, especially where the dominant strategy is two-handed weapons, heavy armor, enchanted weapons. You know what I mean?
Like you're playing Minecraft, just keep swinging,
But I mean, like there is strategy in the game. You just have to look for it, which isn't. I mean, it's not bad, but I don't look that way. Like when I play Skyrim, when I first played Skyrim, now like every now and then I'll go back and play Skyrim.
Right.
And just hack and slash because I've played the game like 30 times.
Right. Yeah.
But like the first time I played it, it was all archery and then daggers, and it was all stealth.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way you play, guys. You play stealth.
I'm a stealth character in every game that lets me do it.
Yeah, lets you do it. Yeah.
So I mean, like, there's strategy there, definitely. You just have to kind of uncover it and go for it.
Well,
that's annoying to do that. Like,
right. Well, I mean, like, it's like when I'm strategy. I mean, like, there's a difference between like what you're talking about is like active application of strategy as you fight. And what I'm talking about is more like the pre-battle strategy. It's like, okay, I have this armor, I have this spells, you strategize beforehand. Okay.
See, it's like kind of like a strategy from Flash, where he kind of like goes there and then deals with the situation while he's there, versus Batman, where he will study for months a certain person.
Right. Yeah, kind of like that. So it's like in the better Final Fantasy games, you have like a breadth of attributes to adjust, special skills to have and to combine, and all this other stuff. And you just look all of it, and you're like, wow, I can make my character any way I want. Like, I can fight this next battle almost any way I want. any party I want.
There was
The problem with 13 and 13.2 was like there's one solution to every fight, and I don't like that. I don't like being pigeonholed into one way to win a fight.
Yeah, there was something way back in the day. You know what the Rainbow Six franchise is?
Yeah, well...
Where it's like counterterrorism,
yeah.
It's a Ubisoft shooter.
Yeah.
It's always anyway, in the very first game, when you were playing on the PC, you could connect and go through the control and stuff, and there was this really cool thing. Well, I never played it myself, but I watched it being played on the PC, and when you are lobby and you select a mission, they show you a map of the mission and they show you how many hostages there are, how many terrorists there are. Like that, of course, it's not going to be absolute because then the game would be easy.
Right.
So they have like number of hostiles anywhere between 10 and 25, something like that. And there was a whole map mark, like with your mouse, you can go in kind of like MS Paint, and you can show you and your 3 other squad members like, I'm going to go over here, you should go over here, just stay with me, and you could map out movements on the map. So at that point, like, you would never be in a situation where you're like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
And that's super cool.
That's cool, yeah.
It's super cool, and they're actually going to bring that to Rainbow Six Patriots, which is the newest one. But I don't even know if that game's even still being made.
Right.
But
yeah,
that's super cool, and I wish more games were like that, where you can not just like literally you just turn your mind off, and you don't turn your mind off for like the first couple times you play.
Right.
But after that, you just kind of shut your mind off and you go into autopilot and you shoot things, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just know the spots to go and everything like that. I like it when you die super fast, so you have to be talking to your teammates. You have to actually have a plan and execute something strategically, other than just like, it's fine, I'm really good at this game, so I can just do everything by myself. You guys sit back here and be a mobile spawn point.
Right. Well, in those kind of RPGs, if you had the thing where it's like, dominant strategy is just swing away. But then that's why developers, they're like, oh, well, let's make a monster who's resistant to magic, or to physical. And to magic, so it's like, oh no, you can't just do that. So like in 11, obviously 11, the online RPG that I play frequently.
That was an MMO?
It's an MMO, yeah.
Okay.
So like you have monsters sometimes who are resistant to physical, or some guys who will like petrify you sometimes. If you look at their faces.
And that means you freeze, right, when you get petrified?
Yeah, it means you're frozen in place.
Okay.
You're still alive, but you can't act.
Yeah.
You're turned to stone. And so as long as you're looking at them, like Medusa, or the Pice monsters, they'll turn you to stone if they use the wrong skill at the wrong time. So when you put stuff like that in the game, it's like, oh wow, you have to think more like beyond just swinging away. It's a little more strategy. It's a little more than just swinging. It's like, okay, turn around, you're not looking at them, and then hit them. Like attack with something that doesn't attack with something that doesn't like you don't have to be facing them to use, which usually ends up being magic.
Yeah.
So mixing things up like that. It's like, oh no, this guy absorbs a certain element. You're relying on a certain kind of element to do certain kind of damage for a while, and you're going along, and you're like, uh-oh, this guy is now absorbing the element that I've been spamming all this time. I can't do that. That kind of stuff. Like, keep building on that. Keep making monsters that circumvent the dominant strategy, because that's how people start branching out and doing different things.
Yeah, like a good example of that is Pokemon, where a lot of people are like, well, Pokemon is just a glorified version of rock, paper, scissors.
I've heard people say that, yeah.
And it's totally not, because it's rock, paper, scissors
on
until
the surface.
You get the guy who is rock, but is also scissors.
Also scissors.
No, also paper.
It's a paper, right.
So he can beat rock, right?
Right.
But and scissors at the same time. So that's the point. And like dominant strategy may have been, well, I know in Red and Blue it was Psychic, right? Psychic was
pretty overpowered.
Yeah, it was huge. I'm assuming fighting was also pretty good.
Don't feel bad, Jack.
It was alright.
Just for the fact that they added in Ghost, which is not affected by fighting.
Yeah, there's only one Ghost type in the original game.
Who is that?
Ghastly, Haunter, Gengar.
Oh, okay.
Those three.
They were always not affected by fighting moves, right?
Yeah, pretty sure, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, they added in... Was Ghost super effective against Psychic in the original game?
I think so, but the problem with that was...
there was only 3 Pokemon that were...
No, there was only, like one Ghost offensive move. And it was
okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, okay.
So there's no
Well, I
way
mean,
to counter them.
They added in Dark type, which is another thing that will just destroy psychics.
Which is basically just a counter for.
Yeah, it's just a counter psychic. That's all.
Right.
That's
But
all.
that's
Because
the
Dark types themselves aren't very. They're not beefy usually. They're not.
Usually,
They're not
I mean, there's
super
exceptions.
offensive.
Yeah.
They're good at one thing, and they do that one thing very
But
well.
that's the brilliant thing about it. Is like, even when they introduced Fairy, that's the brilliant thing about them balancing it, is that they didn't just go across the board. Okay, Dragon's too strong. Let's just get rid of everything. It's like, oh no, we're gonna balance them by actually giving you more options, more choices, more customization options. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, guys, we're
Anyway.
coming up on the end of the video, so let us know how we did on our first post commentary.
Yes, and we'll be with you again soon for the next part of whatever the next world is.
Alrighty, see you later.